Welcome into another episode of the podcast Troops. This one's a different one. It's a bit of a kind of different chapter for both of us. We have done an episode before. We've actually done 2 episodes technically on here. One was online during like COVID era.
Yeah, started.
When you were like a client, mate, which was fucking mad. We've done one for when you came in as a partner over 2 years ago, and now we're doing one as you exiting as a partner.
Yep. That's
How
crazy.
you
That's
feeling,
a
bro?
journey. That's a journey. Client to co-founder to exit.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Been like the last 3 years have been mental. Best 3 years of my life, like in business so far. Like it's the levels we took it to, the things that we done together, the strides that we took, the business. Oh,
Yeah.
You can't ask for much more.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking crazy to be fair. And for anyone like maybe curious of like how the partnership actually ended, this would be a good indication to showcase that it has ended on amazing terms. And we thought that like it's easy for us to do wee announcement videos and stuff, but there's no better way to do it because me and Andy came up in like a streaming background where I remember I was still streaming at the time when like we started the Entrepreneurs Network. I used to say to people, I was like, if you ever want to see what I'm really like, just come and watch my stream. I'm live for 5 hours straight, no breaks. Sometimes 10 hours straight if there's tournaments on. I was like, if you truly want to see what I'm like just come watch my stream. This is a great long form format for that.
Just start blasting each other for the next hour and a half.
Yeah, rip each other to shreds, man. This is what I fucking hated. This is what I fucking hated. It's is there anything actually that you didn't like about us working together?
No, because we complemented each other well. I think the biggest thing that I've always took from our relationship, and we still continue to do, is just the level of honesty and communication.
Yeah.
We've always faced the things that we've got wrong, things that are challenging us. We've dug into our personal lives, like we've both talked about what we've spoken about in therapy or what we're working on as individuals. There's not really been many stones left unturned.
Yeah.
I mean, you were literally the coach for me going to the dating scene for the first time. So you've been a part of every area of my life. There's not been one that you've not been a part of. So I don't really feel any negatives to what we've done.
Yeah, the butterfly effect is pretty fucking crazy, to be fair, in terms of like how both of us have grown massively. Because I think we always said the same thing, which was like, no matter what happens to like Y&L, this has been like the hotbed that has produced the talent that is me and you, in terms of like seeing so many businesses, seeing so many problems, seeing all the solutions just in a never ending cycle is what is built for initially for you, but essentially for you to go off and do your own thing and be able to get it to 5-figure months. Like fucking it'll be light work, bro. Within just a few months you'll get it there. And that's all came from the lessons, the foundations that we had laid, and also all the client problems. Like there's no problem that we haven't seen from 0 to 10K per month.
Yep. Not one single problem. Everyone has the same things. Most businesses are the same.
Yeah.
It's just different business.
Yeah, literally. I agree. What's the because you've done a training on some of the like key lessons. Do you remember like from the actual training itself? What are some of the key lessons from us working together?
Biggest one, as I said, just there, communication.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize how much of a skill it is. And it sounds so stupid when you say it, because from when you were 2-3 years old, you were starting to have conversations. So it's never really something that people tend to work on. They get it, they understand it, they know how to talk to people. But I always think that's just level one. I think there's a way to build your emotional maturity to know that you can take on people's problems, you can understand people's problems, and also the big one, I think you can understand where people come from. Because for me and you, we grew up completely different lives, completely different ways of living, and then came together as individuals that had had all those experiences. And because we done that, there would naturally be times that we have different views on how something happens or how something plays out.
Yep.
And our ability to see from the other person's perspective and come to some sort of ground where it works for both individuals, I believe that's one of the biggest things, biggest lessons of working with you, is how much you have to work on that communication.
Yep.
To get it to that stage, to be able to go to a meeting with someone and say, I disagree with what you are saying.
Yep.
Let's work out how we can do it together. And the other person reciprocating that and saying, I agree, let's do it.
Yeah.
That's something that I'll always take on with anyone that I would ever work with in the future. Any client that you ever work with, anything that you're doing, you need someone who has the emotional regularity to actually see things from other people's perspectives and understand where they're coming from before just jumping in, being aggressive and saying, nah, that's wrong.
Yeah. Because I think as well, like we've only seen a handful of partnerships actually work in the
Yeah.
3 years that we've worked together from a client based perspective. Like, and even chatting to Lawrence, in the 9 years that he's been in business, he's only ever seen one like fully work to scale to like 7-figure exit level. So it's one of those, when it comes to a partnership perspective, a lot of it is comms,
Yeah.
like a large amount of it for sure.
I believe it's different chapters as well, as you were saying, where two people being in that same position together all the way up to that stage, and there's only been one that's ever done it. I think naturally we reached a part in our relationship where that separation will probably serve us both way better than sticking together, and not in a negative way of that we weren't working, because we still done incredible stuff and we're continuing to work on incredible stuff. I think naturally the way that we are wanting to push and the lifestyles that we're wanting to live and the people that we're wanting to be, it's not different in terms of values of who we are as individuals, but difference in terms of what we're aiming for and what our goals are with the companies that we're trying to build.
Yeah, like what we want is different in terms of for the future of the business.
Yeah, and we've always said that. Like I always speak about to people that we talk to, our first ever conversation, I was skeptical of thinking, you want this and I want something different. Is that going to cause a ton of conflict? And it didn't. You know, it wasn't something that caused conflict, but I think it was always something that was there, and we were okay with actually seeing that it existed, and it was part of our journey.
And as well, like for the growth, it was like 1.4K per month, 1.4K when you officially came in, to like hitting 30K plus months, like in 3 years. Like that growth
that's exceptional.
Yeah, it's fucking insane, which I think a large amount of that as well, like that natural inflection point. Like first conversation me and Andy had in Five Guys was like, and his biggest concern was like, you want to be a billionaire, I just want, was it like $3,000 a month or something?
$3,000 a month.
Yeah. You want to be a billionaire, I just want $3,000 a month. Like, how's that going to like actually work? And at the time, like I just didn't even see that as a problem. And I think that's where the inflection point as well comes, where it's like the challenge that we had at the start of the year was we need to push now, like more than ever, to like really take things to the next level. Like a coaching business really can have a ceiling if it's not set up accordingly, and if you don't have people full pelt in every single direction. Just like majority of businesses, like I don't want to act like coaching businesses is harder, but I think when you think about the knowledge that we've got, bringing people in, like you need individuals that are very well versed in business, able to offer guidance and help in our specific areas that they specialize in. And I think like scaling beyond that point, it was going to mean like the early mornings, the late evenings, the weekends again. And for yourself, like you'd gotten everything that you wanted from the business, both knowledge but also like cash. Like we hit the 3K a month
middle of last year.
Yeah, which like before that we probably could have raised to the 3K a month like a year probably prior to that.
Yeah,
but we chose to bring on Jack as a hire, Reese as a hire, bring on my mum to help with things, even invested in like PG.
Yeah,
probably like for about the same time we actually bumped it up, whereas in PG was a 15K up front, $2,500 a month. So like there was no you're definitely right, mate. Like we could have hit that probably a good couple of years prior, to be fair, but we chose to opt in for growth, which I think is an interesting thing, because what you wanted monetary wise we could have, but you sacrificed it for growth.
Yeah, I think it's more important things, bigger purpose. You know, my goal of the 3K a month, as you'll know from the very start, our conversations of risk aversion, it was very much a risk averse way of doing it, but I know there was a bigger purpose to it. There was bigger and better things that we could do with the money that was coming in. And if we could sustain our lives, if we could pay our bills with the money that we were getting, why did we need more at the time when we could put more money into the business, more money into what we're doing, more money to make it even better for our clients? And that's how we done the retreats, the events, all that sort of stuff, and paid for a lot of things that helped us probably get to that stage at the tail end of last year.
Agreed, without a shadow of a doubt. In terms of the, I guess, like foundations that you're building for the new business, like what is kind of came from Y&L, like what are the kind of key components when you're thinking about building what you're building now?
The first one, systems. surprise. Yeah, that is 100% the first area that I've set up, the base level of systems that you need in order to hit that first 10K month.
Yeah,
I've done trainings on that before for the clients, and I've talked about it quite a few times, but I've set up the key things I'm going to need to actually make better decisions faster. And the more that I can do with that, the easier it's going to be to hit that number without having any knockback effect of me not knowing where things are, what's going on, what I'm aiming for. So things like the vision of what I want my company to be, things like the working on the business area, which is something we use all the time, of just key things that need to happen. Things like the scorecard that we've started to implement for clients as well, and building what that's going to be, because you can logically see, am I actually reaching the targets I need to reach the goals I'm looking for? And then the second part with that, and it's probably something that we've worked on heavily over the last 3 years, but I believe everyone probably still continues to need to do it consistently. And a lot of the problems that we see from the people who are just starting out is the mindset side of things. I believe most people can get to that 10K month mark with any pretty strong offer that they have. If they work on their offer enough and they can get it somewhere that people can see on a consistent basis, I think anyone could get there. What stops them more often than not is like their self-belief in themselves, them not putting the right tasks at the front because they're too scared to take on the bigger challenging things that they might need to go and do more research for. So I've made sure that starting this business, I've put that vision at the forefront of knowing, well, what am I actually aiming for with this? What do I genuinely want with it? And what am I actually after? And through working that out, it can then lead into, well, what do I have to face in order to achieve that? So as you said, we've worked with 300 probably plus clients over the last 3 years. We've saw every problem in the book. It's not to say there won't be ones that come up that we've never saw before, but the majority of the time they overlap. So if I can just not fall into those traps, and now that I have such good people like yourself, Connor, Lawrence, Jude, all that sort of stuff around you, you know that they'll be able to help keep you on track as well.
100%. I think that's a huge component as well, because like the conversation we were having at the start of the year was like, look at all the amazing people that we have around us as a result of what we've built, which I think one of the, have you listened to the podcast with Naval and Chris Williamson?
I have actually, yeah.
Oh, it's so fucking good.
It was very good.
But like the question of like, if you were to go back and do it all over again, knowing what you know now, what would you change? And it's like, I'd do everything with like less stress or worry or something like that. Like, we'll reflect on this when we're 30s, 40s, where it's like everything was going to be okay because we were showing up every single day, we're putting in the inputs, we, like, no matter what, like, challenge came up, we tackled it, no matter how we felt, we still pushed on. I think that's a big thing as well, like, no matter how we felt, we still showed up every day, which is the mindset blockers that you're speaking about. We've seen clients, they just disintegrate, they just disappear off the face of the earth, and it's not just disappear in terms of like their comms go dead, but they just stop. They stop everything they're doing, and that's one thing. No matter how hard it got, we just never stopped.
It was even in the times that were really, really challenging. We've spoken about it before. It was November, 2023 it would have been. Just things were not going well. It wasn't that everything was crumbling down. It was just our first time in the business that things had stopped working, even though we were putting in so much work. But me and you both, 5 a.m. every morning for 2 months straight, every single time just putting in the work to get it there. And 2 months after doing that, we hit our first 20K month. And that was all through that work that we put in to try and steady the ship and then move forward. Yeah,
because I think as well, like, during that time, I mean, I still get fucking plenty of messages now in terms of like how regimented I am with the routine. I think that initial 2 months, it was like the alarm goes off at 5 and it's like, well, you know that I'm on and I know that you're on. So you literally can't opt out. It's like meeting for a run at 5 a.m. But just like the business version of that, and like the run that people do hate, it is they're working on the business shit. It's the extra time. I think it's what makes it so easy now. My issue now is that I just expand my time all the time. Parkinson's law, where I'm like, if I don't get it done this morning, like, it's okay. I'll pick it up in the evening. And it's not that I'm not working during that time frame. It's just like I have this infinite amount of time. And I think during that time, it was like so squeaky bum time that we had to get everything fucking nailed and locked. And I think a large amount of that came as well with like, we just hired Jack full time. Literally the
first week, and I think we lost 4 clients in that week, and then another 3 the next week. And we hired them on like the Friday.
Throw him in the deep end, which once again, like, it's another thing. Like, Jack would have been probably stressing, worrying during that time frame, but it's like that would have been a crucial part of like his growth. Like, he was so grateful for that now, because he faces challenges now where we go through a churn period that's nothing. It's part of the game, which is pretty fucking nuts. What do you want from the current business?
The big one is building the business to the lifestyle that I'm after. And that lifestyle for me has always been related to family friends, like spending time with the people that you truly love. And I know that might sound a bit weird, where that's the goal, that's the aim, but you can do that whenever you want. But obviously, you've known me now for over 3 years.
Yep.
Even when we weren't earning any money, that was still my priority. I
Yep.
still wanted that to be the case. And I never want to lose sight of that. And I don't want to just chase for the sake of chasing.
Yep.
And for you, like we've talked about this, I do a lot of things based on my mum.
Yep.
Like, that is why I do a lot of things. That is kind of my purpose. It was interesting. I actually had a conversation with Elliot on maybe Monday of last week or Monday this week. And he was asking about my why and why I do things and what my purpose is. And I said to him, you know, John and Lawrence last year were hitting me to try and make sure that I was finding what this purpose was, so that something I could find that was bigger than me. So I went on this spiel about my mum and like why I do things and why the family matters so much to me and why I want to make sure that I'm prioritizing that and not allowing that to stop me from moving forward. And he was like, you've just told me exactly what your why is. You've told me what it is. You've told me what you want and what you're aiming for. So for me with this business, I want to create it that I choose the lifestyle I'm wanting to live. I'm building it that it creates incredible systems for those companies that gets amazing results. I've already been able to prove that I can do that, but positions my company and me in the lifestyle that I want to live. And it's that freedom that I'm getting pulled towards at the moment.
And what does that lifestyle look like for yourself?
So I think it's those finish by one, as in that sort of formula. It's Ali Abdal, one of his employees, done a video recently about when he'd left, and I think it's called done by one. So having the major parts of your business, the things that are truly going to get it to where you want to get it to, done by one. And then that allows your afternoon to either be filled with spending time with good people, spending time with your family and your friends, doing maybe client calls that you might have over that time to help them push forward with what you're doing. But having that done by one of your stuff on the business, the things that are truly going to get it to that place, because as we know, it's all about that consistent work over a longer period of time.
Yep.
Like you can take massive leaps whenever you want, but it really will never compete against someone who just does the thing they need to do every day for 2, 3, 4, 5 years at a time.
Yep.
And with the knowledge that we've built over these last 3 years, I truly believe that I can create that.
Yeah. And what are the things that you're getting done by one? It's just to like give like real time examples.
So current ones right now, VSL for the show and tell funnel. Show and tell funnel, for anyone who's curious, is essentially just showing what you are capable of doing on a video format and being able to get people to apply to work with you. The other one I'm working on right now is my content structuring, basically what I'm going to commit to be doing every single week for the rest of time. And then the other ones that I'm working on right now is generally just setting up all of the foundations for the business. So all the kind of boring stuff, like the setting up the bank account and transferring some of the things that I need to over to my own systems so that I know it's all there. So currently that's what they're working on the business and done by one aim is anyway.
Do you know, guys, in the whole time that me and Andy worked together, Joey never got access to the bank account. not through my choice, by the way.
John didn't let me get access.
Andy just refused to fucking go to the bank. And
I didn't care.
Yeah, he just didn't give a fuck.
No.
Do you want to touch on that? Because that's like,
yeah.
We don't advise anyone to do
no,
this.
No, don't do it. Ellis has told us, our accountant has told us many times, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Most relationships don't work like that. And I understand why that's an anomaly. I don't know why I stared at the camera while I was doing that and not you instead. Most are an anomaly. I get that. I done it because I just trusted you more than anyone in my life. Yeah. And we've heard partnership stories, even in our time working together, that people have took the money and ran, went away and gone, or had this massive feud because of the bank and all the control and what they were spending and all that sort of stuff. I just didn't care. Yeah. You always put the business first. You never try to create this toxic environment where I would have to worry about what you were spending. I knew what you would spend would be to the betterment of the business or something that's going to improve us. And I knew that if I needed anything, I would come to you and I would say, what would you think about this? Because we would make decisions together anyway related to that. So I know it sounds so crazy, and I'm guessing people listening to us for the first time are going to be like, "You're an idiot. I don't know why you would ever not just get access to the bank."
I just don't think they'll believe it. I
Yeah,
don't think they'll genuinely believe it. Like Andy literally did
I
not
could
have
shoot a
access.
video of showing everything. I was meant to go into the bank about 2 years ago with my passport and stuff like that, and I just never done it. But I just didn't care. I had so much trust in you and so much faith in knowing what we were aiming for. It didn't matter. That was such a minute detail of what we done together.
I think a lot of people will probably understand like how do you actually know, and I think probably a big component as well is that like you didn't just meet me or befriend me. It was like you've seen my whole life. So it's like you built an amazing relationship with my mum, built an amazing relationship with Bex. So then like your girlfriend was a client of Bex. Like the whole circle of that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like you met and built a relationship with my best mate of Jack, or there's been a best mate for over a decade. Like you literally like were in my life like fully. There's no like when I hear like horror stories like of people just like stealing cash and stuff like that, it's so interesting because like even my mum listening to this just now, she was listening to it, she always says the same thing, which is like you never know. She probably said that to you. Like,
she always does. Yeah.
You never actually know what someone's like, and like she's just seen so many things go wrong. So there will be a lot of people that probably listen to it just thinking, but how do you actually know beyond just like seeing inside my life? How else did you know to like fully trust me?
Two ones, the gut feeling, which we've spoken about quite a lot. The more that you're involved in business, the more that you meet people, you will get the gut feeling.
Yeah.
It's something that you do have to work on. What was the book that you read that was great on the gut feeling?
Blink by Malcolm Gladwell.
Really, really great book about the gut feeling and what it is. But you know when you walk into a room and you start talking to someone for the first time and you just get a weird vibe off of them, that's the gut feeling talking to you. And it might not feel that aggressive, and there might be little things here and there that catch your attention that you're going to watch, and it might not be anything actually concrete to say that you shouldn't be around this person, but there's always something. There's always that little thing that will tell you, and with you, there never was.
Yeah.
And the second one was intention. We spoke about our intentions, our goals, our aims, our priorities in life, and our intention as individuals came through that. And you prove that through things going wrong and things happening. So when something's going wrong in your business, you get to see how someone reacts to that. When something goes wrong in your life, you get to see how they handle it. When someone disagrees with them, you get to see how they communicate and how they handle themselves with that. And there was never a point in time where I thought, I didn't like that at all.
Yeah.
And if you ever get that little, I don't like that, there's something in your body telling you that that's not right.
Yeah.
Obviously, the challenging thing is you might find out that you're not the greatest person in the world, and then you have to work on yourself first so that other people don't get that gut feeling about you of thinking you're a scamming wee rat. Yeah. But if you are self-aware enough, if you read the book like Blink, and if you start to understand yourself more and what you're looking for in good people, you will realize very, very quickly, especially in business, especially if you're just starting out as well, that there is a lot out there that are just looking for your money. They do not care about you. They do not care about your life. They do not care about your business. They care about getting money in the door so they can send a screenshot on their Instagram story of their Stripe of how much money they've made that month. And that's never anything that I got from you.
Yeah. Sadly, the majority of people are wired that way for just cash. Like think about how many applications we've turned away in our 3 years. Like the majority would be applications we'd turn away. And a lot of that comes down to just exactly what you're saying. The intentions piece is huge. The Naval podcast, we keep referencing this through it because we both watched it, but there's a component on it where they're speaking about relationships. And it's like, someone walks up to Naval and is like, should I be with my partner? And I was like, well, even the fact you're answering that or asking that tells you the fucking answer in itself. And I think the gut instinct piece, like one of the things I loved that they spoke about was like, as you grow older, your gut instinct gets better through experience, but also you're more at peace with the consequences. And I think that's a big component when you're young, is that you overthink the consequences, or you don't know what the consequences are of just being upfront and honest. And I think like with us, like the consequences were never anything because we just spoke about it.
Yeah. And interestingly enough, it was just reminding me of some people that we'd done that with when we were first starting out. Yeah. There were some people that we were around that the gut feeling was there, but because we were young and we were inexperienced, it was like they're further ahead. They've maybe got more things than us. Maybe we're just being naive. Maybe we're just inexperienced and we don't get it. now looking back on that, we've ended all those relationships anyway. They're no longer apart because we've had that experience. But now that you can look back on it, you realize you should have ran from the beginning. There was red flags everywhere. And a lot of people probably won't, because it'll be your first in with people that are maybe better than you or bigger than you, or what you perceive to be better and bigger than you, when in reality it's just a lie.
Yeah, I think it's the better and bigger piece that is hard for a lot of people to, like, because everyone thinks that they know better. Like, other people know better. Oh, they're doing fucking 100k a month, or they're doing 50k a month, or oh, fuck me, I'm only doing 3k a month, they're doing 10k a month. Like, they must know far better than anyone else. As a result, when you go to them and I'm going to ask them questions, when like nobody knows your business better than you. And I think the gut instinct feels well when people are giving you advice and guidance, like gaining clarity around those components. Because I think that's a line to kind of like walk on. It's definitely as the gut instinct piece that you're getting advice or guidance, or I guess advice and guidance from the right person. Because I think like I was speaking to Stephen Rayner about this when I had a call with him last week, and he's been on the podcast as well, guys, and an amazing episode. He's got a fantastic gym, and we're also working the craziest 9 to 5 known to man. So yeah, fantastic episode. But with Stephen, it was like there is certain things that we do or have done that like economically make zero fucking sense, and majority of coaches or majority of people out there would say that you're fucking insane for doing so. Like for as an example, there was a client that was just going through a bit of a fucking shit time. He'd been shafted for a few different areas, and I just paused his membership and then scheduled in a weekly coaching call with him for the next 4 weeks. Why? Because he's a fucking good guy. He's been shafted fucking 10 times over. Like, what is money like to that component? If I know if I can help him, then let's just lock in, and actually get him moving forward, which he's been so fucking grateful for. But once again, if I was to break that down economically to a mentor or a coach, or even just other people that are money hungry, they'd be like, "You're a fucking idiot.
Why are you wasting your time?
Yeah.
Why are you not doing it?" But that's where people don't realize the real power of good relationships. Yep. People that can trust you and know that you've got their back even when times are tough. Because everyone can look at the 10k a month mark and they're crushing it in business and think, I want to be around that person. It's the people that when you're going through that shit time, you can voice note, you can phone, you can message and saying, listen, I just need some help.
Yeah.
I'm struggling here.
Yeah. Because even thinking like that 2 months, January and February, like us kind of finalising the partnership exit, went through a bit of a churn period, sales were down. Like that was so fucking tough. And I think the toughest component probably for me was that like you were exiting. So as a result, like I don't really feel like I should be bringing stuff to you, but like that's the relationship we'd had for 3 years. And I think a large amount of that as well, like even chatting to Declan Gallagher, plays for Dundee United, still speak to him regularly, speaking to him yesterday. And there was a video that I sent him like 4 years ago, mate, of like, it's this, I can't remember the guy's name, it'll probably ping into my mind, but it's basically a motivational video that's like, you need to want to be successful as bad as you want to breathe. And it's a 7-minute fucking video. I think it's Eric Thomas. Is that who it is? Just like popped into my head randomly. Maybe him. That may be a random fucking guy. I'm just shouting it. Eric Thomas.
Eric?
I don't know. It might be him. But it's literally it's a fucking killer video. And like he literally pinged me that and he was just like, remember, bro, like this is the shit that we live for. This is the shit that we do this for. And it's like I sent him that video like fucking 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's like truly, like full sending into ultimately like what you want from life, but also like those relationships that I built with someone like Declan to be able to send me those things, not even necessarily when I need it, but like post that kind of 2-month period for him to go like, by the way, if you're ever going to a shit period again, remember this video literally changed my life, you sent me it, like fucking watch that shit. Like once again, like I probably had so many calls with guys just simply because I really value them as a friendship. I think that's the piece as well, the transactional piece. Because like Naval speaks a lot about that in terms of like a relationship can become like an easy level, or like a good level of getting a good level of turmoil as a result of it being transactional. But me and you have really balanced that well with clients. Yeah. Even though clients pay us, we're still in their corner as a friend as well. And even after they pay, if we built a really good relationship, we would stay in touch. Yeah. How have you found that? Well, like just upon reflection there
over the 2 months.
Yeah. We'll start like with the actual like clients from a transactional perspective. Like how have you managed? Because you, like you said, relationships over cash.
Yeah.
So yeah, like is that just the gut instinct piece that you're referring to?
I think you know when people are good.
Yeah.
And because of how many people we rejected from Y&L, the majority that came in were good.
Yeah.
There's obviously going to be people that will slip through the cracks. That's just business. That's life. And there'll be people who try to take the piss out of you. But for the majority of what we brought in, we always put the values above everything, reputation over profit. That was the kind of saying that we always went for. And because we done that, the people that we brought in were great. You know, even taking Chris as an example, launching Fitless Time on Wednesday, the amount of stuff that he's had to go through to get it to that stage is mental. But he's such an incredible person to talk to that it doesn't matter whether they're a client or not. You just want to see him win. Because he puts in the work, he puts in the effort, he wants to see you succeed as well. And there's nothing transactional about it where you're only getting this because of this. It's that I genuinely just want to see you succeed. And I think it does definitely lean towards that gut feeling piece of knowing people are good. But that purely, again, comes from the experience of us having a lot of people that try to use us or build transactional relationships with us that we just stopped bringing that into Y&L as a whole.
You can sense it from a mile away, like now, because I think the big component is like takers versus givers, helping givers, not necessarily because you want anything back, but because like they are good people, because good people are givers. So it's almost like a never-ending circle of just people giving and helping. And I think like the component of giving that really allows you to build an incredible reputation is doing it without any expectations. We've done a lot of things without any expectation of any return. Whether it's like people like helping individuals that we ultimately wouldn't care if they ever signed as a client before. I've even made it as part of Jack's sales process now, where it's like if he has a call with someone, they're not an ideal fit just now, maybe due to revenue or where they're at, like they get added to a list where he just helps them. And it's not a nurturing list where he's then going to like fucking like convert them down the line, but genuinely because they're just good people and they fucking deserve the help. And the mad thing is when you do those things, it does end up making sense business as well, like economically. And I think that's a component that people can't wrap their head around if they've never been exposed to that, where they're like, but you're offering all these like free calls, free time, like where's the ROI on it? And it's like, well, if you do actually want to look at it from a business perspective, the reputation of people speaking about you and what you're doing and how they actually feel about it. Two, like there's not many people out there that give just to give. So like you stand out above everyone else. And three, if they ever actually do need your service, like who the fuck are they going to call? I mean, you
will be the first one every single time. And people don't realise the long game with that.
Yeah.
We've had some clients that we had the first touch point with them 2 years ago, and they came to us and saying, I've been following what you guys have been doing. I love to see what you're pushing forward with. Now I believe is the right time. And that was never from an intentional standpoint of we hope their business comes to us 2 years down the line. That is purely because word of mouth is so powerful. People don't realise it. There's a reason why most of us make decisions now based on other people's reviews on Amazon when you're buying something. We do look for other people's thoughts. So when you're in business and someone asks, hey, do you know John Hamilton? What's his business actually like? They can instantly say, oh, I had a call with him a year ago. It was incredible. He helped me as much as I possibly could.
Yeah. That's why I mean, like, we had this conversation about outbound strategies. Like, we stopped doing the kind of like one-to-many outbound strategy because it was just like, if someone's following you and the first thing they're receiving is basically a video or a message trying to sell or trying to direct them towards a resource or whatever, like, yeah, like a response rate was like 30%, but my first thought was like, what about the other 70?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're the guy that sent me a video message that was like one-to-many that fucking ages ago. Like, people do genuinely take that shit to heart. And like, I've got a few guys on LinkedIn just now that are just the follow-up process that they've got, man, fucking hitting me like every few days, and I'm never going to buy from them because all they're doing is just hounding me. And it's not that I've not seen the message. I've seen the message. I'm just not interested, and I've maybe not had the time to actually reply. And I think when I then see that individual, like subconsciously, and that's probably why I traded out that outbound process for something more personalized. Like, if I see them at an event or if I see them like maybe on socials, my first like subconscious thought is like, you're the guy that fucking bombarded me with 7 messages in a row. Literally. Like, that's a subconscious thought. That's not a like, oh, I'm like sat and I brood and I thought about this person. It's like, oh fuck, that's that guy that fucking hit me with 7 messages without a reply and just done my fucking head in.
Yep.
Like, yeah.
No one wants it either. It's those people put sales over reputation, and it's really obvious. And it can work. That's the annoying thing, is that for these people, they probably can make a lot of money. because eventually there'll be someone that just matches that type of energy.
Yep.
If you're wanting to play the long game, though, you've got to understand the consequences of that.
Yep.
And what actually that's going to lead to down the line, especially if you're wanting to build a good reputation where people truly care about what you do and how you handle situations.
100%, without a doubt. So when it comes to, like, we spoke about the kind of initial foundations you're laying, so like almost like a funnel, VSL, content structure, and then the initial foundations from like a systems perspective. How's it been like going from like team to like solopreneur?
I had my weekly team call by myself on Friday.
Nice. How did that go?
It was great. Everyone on board with what we're moving forward with.
Nice.
They were all written for next week.
Nice.
But yeah, no, things have been weird, really weird not going into the call and, you know, asking how everyone's been doing, seeing how everyone's been getting on the week, seeing what we're all aiming for next week collectively to move towards the vision. But because of what we built and focused on so much, it's not been as weird necessarily for me because I've just kind of took what we were doing and brought it in as a solo person.
Yeah.
So I filled in my scorecards and I put my to-do list for next week related to the vision I have for the company and knowing that that's what I'm working towards and got my priorities straight for the following week. So it has felt weird not having as many calls with everyone, with clients especially as well, and not being on those calls and seeing how they've been getting on. But it doesn't feel as unnatural as I thought it would have been.
Yep.
For my first, well, this is my first full actual week because last week it started maybe on Tuesday, Wednesday, but this has been the first actual week so far.
In terms of the actual offering as well, so people know we don't even talk about that. It's still going to be in the title technically anyways, but yeah, if you give some more context as well on it.
On the
offering that you're actually doing from a
right,
perspective.
okay. Yeah. So the offer itself is going to be helping companies scale with their systems.
Yep.
I'm looking to take companies that want to grow past what they're currently doing. Everything's stuck in their head. Their team has no structure. They have no vision. They don't actually know how they can get past this revenue point that they're at and getting them to that next stage with the systems. You know, you tend to find with the clients I've worked with, you can 2 to 5x your revenue simply by improving the systems. But because everyone likes the flashy stuff with the marketing and sales, you kind of leave the systems to the back end.
Yep.
So I want to be the guy that helps companies scale to that next level through their systems.
Amazing, bro. I love it. And I think like the funny thing is we've started putting out content now.
Yeah.
And I seen was it Yanni comment on the post like I would bet my chips on you.
Yeah.
Like I think a large amount of that comes from like you do love this shit more than anything else.
Yeah.
Like anything at all. Which I think like the initial conversation that we had back in January 6th of going separate ways, it's like you were kinda just delaying the inevitable in terms of like how passionate you truly were about it. And I think a large amount of that of you delaying it was probably just all the uncertainty around like this has been a crucial part of our life for 3 years.
Yeah.
Like how did you eventually like come to that conclusion of just like, you know what, this is the right time to step away and do something else?
It's terrifying. Don't get me wrong. It's absolutely terrifying because you know me enough to know that the risk aversion is a lot higher than probably normal entrepreneurs where they are willing and happy just to take risks whenever. But as you obviously know, I kind of started to have some feelings in August of last year about not giving the notion and the system stuff a go that I really wanted to at the start of the year. Because we started to do some of the systems work with clients and people outside of it who I was getting referrals from. And I really, really enjoyed to do it. And I started to find myself being more drawn towards that on a consistent basis. And even as you said, you noticed on the calls and stuff, I always somehow went back to systems and talking about systems and what we were doing. So I said to myself, I'm going to work really hard towards the end of the year and see what we can do, see what we can achieve. And if I still feel that way, then I'll see something, I'll talk and I'll say what's going on and how I'm feeling. So we got the record month at the end of the year. We had the break in December. And then in January, that was when I'd brought it to you and we had the talk in the 6th. And I just felt that I was being so drawn towards it, I couldn't not give it a go this year. I couldn't not try it. It was something that I knew I was good at. I knew I could do. I'd already proven that I could do it. So the risk sort of area of just starting from complete scratch wasn't there anymore. Every business that I've started again has always just been from completely, I'm going to try something new. Let's hope it works. Yeah. And although this is new and I'm building up from the ground, I know it's something that I'm good at and it's something that I've trialed and tested. So in that period of time, and then over the Christmas break, I think I just realized how much I really, really enjoy to speak about it and how much I enjoy to help people on that particular thing. And knowing that I've already made a difference in businesses doing it, I could do it even more. And with the vision that you had and that you wanted to take the company, I never ever wanted to be the reason that I was holding you back from getting to where you wanted to go. And as you were saying, if we delayed the inevitable, you know, I could have really just stayed in the company for the next 2-3 years, got paid a decent salary. We would have continued to move forward. I've continued to push it, but I wouldn't have been the all in that I needed to be to get Y&L to where you want to take it. And I think that would be not only a massive, massive detriment to our friendship for doing something like that and holding you back from what you wanted to do, but also an absolute dick move on my end for not being a man enough to actually step up and say, I don't think this is going to be for me moving forward.
I hear that, bro. Because I think as well, like, people delay the conflict as a result of many different reasons. Fear, whether it's the fear of how the other individual is going to receive it, whether it's the like fear of the unknown, the uncertainty. There's so many like reasons that stop people from having that conversation that ultimately, like, it's an absolute necessity. If you're feeling, because what I've kind of circled here is like you've grown to value things that you once didn't value as much. So for example, we speak about this quite a lot, like the things that you didn't have as a kid, you'll value as you're older. I've actually seen that happen in seasons in business as well, where it's like, even me and you have spoke about it, like doing a lot of our stuff that's done with you, it makes me want it done for you business. Yeah. Because then it's like, I don't even fucking think about anyone else doing the things I'm fucking telling them to do. I can just do it my fucking self. And I think that's a huge component probably that fueled yourself too, where it's like there's a lot of done with you stuff. You're relying on clients to go away and make shit happen and implement it, whereas doing Notion stuff, that's just done for you. You just come in, you do the build, and it's done. Which, yeah, I can imagine that was something that you were so fucking excited to stick your teeth into. It
was amazing. I actually had an onboarding call with a client this week, and I fully delved into the new foundations that I'm wanting to build in terms of coaching them. And I took them through my expectations of them, how I want this to run, how to like contact me and knowing what's going on, and then sent them their first report this morning after our call yesterday. And I just felt electric, sending that and showcasing what I've already done a day after we've had our first onboarding call, when our next call isn't until next week. But being able to take that on and build that for me is something that I know it's me. Anyone who's talked to me for long enough will know that the systems it gets me excited about what I can do and what I can help with. Because it's just like that jigsaw puzzle, being able to put pieces together for someone to build the business that they've always wanted to build. And that's, that was electric.
Yeah, that was fucking class, mate. Because I think like the probably difficult thing about a coaching business is like you are still reliant on clients to go in and implement the shit that you give them. You could give someone, like you said, the full blueprint to get to 5-figure months, but their mindset is what holds them back. The self-belief they've got is what holds them back. And it's like, unless we bolt on a solution to that, which we fucking done so many different solutions that move people forward, but like the varying human complex, I guess, of like everyone being different. Whereas you went and you understand exactly what system they need. You just go and fucking build it. And all you need them to do is just go thumbs up or thumbs down at each stage, and that's it.
Yeah. The plan is actually to build a cohort for systems to scale.
Nice.
So being able to do that for maybe more of the one-to-many, but through my sole framework of systems, and thinking of that over a longer time horizon, 5, 6, 7 years, the number of cohorts that you could do to make that something that is completely uncompetable against anyone who builds systems. Something that if anyone were to come into it, they would have the systems set them up to do 10, 20, 30K months easily without any issue.
Yeah, agreed, bro. Without a shadow of a doubt. What's the like over the next like few months, what are the, obviously you've got the initial foundations, the funnel, the VSL, the content, and then the actual foundations piece as well. Like what is the plan over the next few months?
Biggest plan is content. Of what I used to think about content like before we started working together was far more about just give as much value as you possibly can, and that's all you ever want to do. This time around, I want to go a little bit different and position myself is to give people a reason as to why to care about systems. why they should actually pay attention to it and why it's causing issues in their business. So over the next few months, my biggest aim really is to get as many people caring about systems in their business as I possibly can. And that'll be through content on different platforms, going into that newsletter, YouTube, that sort of stuff, and building that authority of showcasing that I know what I'm talking about with this. I've done this for the last 7-8 years of using systems, the last 3 years with helping clients do systems, and just completely showcasing why caring about it now is going to make you millions in the future if you just understand it on a basic level.
Yeah, 100%. Because I mean, you've helped me, you've sold me on that, and I'm a fucking born visionary. Like, it's the big picture shit that really gets me going, but it's also, I think you've helped me understand, because even with Lawrence coming in, Lawrence is going into more of that visionary seat. I can be an integrator as a result of probably what you've taught me over time. And I probably, like, where we compensated is, like, I do have the super anal, every single detail never missed, which is what a lot of visionaries don't have. They just think about the bigger picture shit. I think a combination of the systems plus the being proper anal about the details is what allows for me to probably step into that integrator seat and actually fucking crush. So you got me on board, mate. I'm sure you can get fucking anyone on board. It's funny, I've been prefacing to clients, like, one-to-one call. I had a call with an awesome 2 young guys today, which they need some help with their Notion. They've actually set up like a automation for like leads coming through into a pipeline in Notion. But they were like, how did I take this to the next level? And I'm like, boys, that's not a question for me. That's not a question for me. I was like, there's this awesome guy, his name's Andy. I was like, all I'm going to say is, like, you probably felt a bit overwhelmed in this call with some stuff. What he's going to show you is going to blow your fucking mind. So it's been funny. I've been prefacing, because Tom messaged me as well. He was like, had a call with Andy. There was a point where he was showing me everything. And I was like, whoa, holy shit. And all I had in the back of my head was, you might feel a little bit overwhelmed. Yeah. And it's completely cool. And he was like, that was like super helpful, because like the knowledge you've got, mate, is fucking insane. And I think the reason why your offering works so well is because done for you for what you do is like, that's what people want, man. Like they like, yes, they can get advice and guidance. For some people it'd be fucking awesome. Like, these 2 young guys have got this automation process from like into like a CRM for some of their clients. They're already fucking levels ahead of majority of people. So you being able to go in and add value, be insane. But there's so many people out there that will just want you to do it for them. I was the same. It's like, even like we've got our strategy day on Friday. For context as well, like, Andy's still remaining part of the business. It's just he's stepping to his co-owner in terms of like being in the day-to-day all the time. And definitely, like, a lot of things I want to chat to you about leading into Friday is like just some subtle changes to the systems that ultimately, like, I don't know how to make them, but like, I know it's going to optimize things and move them forward. And it's like, it's those components that what other people will value a lot. It's like, I know what I want, but I just don't know how the fuck to actually like make it work the way that I want. And I know the huge gap in knowledge between there, where I'm like, even right now, like, I've literally had like melon and like a fucking, like, one of those Aki bowls that Bex has whipped me up. Yeah. That's all I've had today. Non-stop. It's 5 o'clock and my stomach's rumbling. And it's like, that's me non-stop without doing any of the system shit. If you didn't exist, then I had to do that shit myself. It's like,
it's not getting done.
No, it's not getting fucking done, mate. Absolutely fucking not, mate. Fuck that. That's coming from someone that's seen the value of it firsthand, but it's the actual natural wiring. Maybe that's a cop out. Natural wiring in the brain. But it's like, your offering, mate, is like so fucking valuable for people like me, especially, because it's like, you can teach me all this shit, but like, I'm not going to love it as much as you as well. I think that's a huge component.
As it's about making it as simple as possible for someone to actually use in their business. Something I'm learning more. Although I try to make it as intricate as possible, the simplicity is a massive, massive part of it. Yeah. Because, I mean, even one of the clients who I had a call with, I shot his case study on Tuesday. And we've been working together for 2 months, and they've took their revenue from 6 to 11K in that 2 months through the systems, because they just know what's going on now. So by creating something simple that they can use every day, they can start to unlock what the business is actually currently doing, where time's being wasted, where they're not putting enough energy, where they're putting too much energy, and logically whether or not things are going right. And it's something we spoke about quite a lot, where clients put too much emotion into their business because it's their baby. There's nothing wrong with that. We've started it from the ground up. We've started it from zero. So of course you're going to have all your emotions invested into that. that if you can work back and see logically, well, is this actually happening, or am I just feeling this way today? Is there just something happening today that's making me feel this way? You can generally see, is the business moving to the place I want to get it to, or is it not? And what do I have to change to make that happen more?
Yeah, 100%. No, I completely agree, mate. What's one thing that maybe people wouldn't know about our partnership? I've had a few of these questions like brewing up just as we've been speaking, where I'm like, how can we can unravel things more?
What's one thing people wouldn't know about our partnership? Well, the first one, obviously, we touched on it early on. John was literally my dating coach last year. So for anyone who's curious, I've never dated anyone prior to, well, any 25 years of my life. And last year I decided I wanted to actually put myself out there. It was a part that I've spoke to John before. It was a part that I've spoke about in therapy, where I was quite nervous to put myself out there. I was scared to like be intimate with people. I didn't really know if that was something that, like, how to do it, what to do. And it made me really, really nervous to talk to people, especially people that I was attracted to. So I just ended up not doing it. But last year I asked John if he would help me set up my dating profile, went on a few dates with some women, and was able to understand more about myself. So John helped me through all of that, of learning, what I should be looking out for, what I should understand more, what I should be doing to push myself more. And funnily enough, that actually ended up leading to a date with one of Bex's clients, who is now my girlfriend, and we're coming up to a year of dating.
Just came because I chefed up some munch
one
day, which is crazy.
Took a picture, Bex sent it into our group chat, and they'd asked, "Is John got any single friends?" And I was the one that came up. Thank God they didn't put Jack Taylor or something like that up, because I'd have lost instantly.
We'd all be fucked.
Yeah, we'd all be dead.
If he was a single man.
That's the first one that comes to my mind of what people would not know. I'm trying to think of others that come to my mind. Is there any that...
There's like a few different components where it's like, I think in general, like I am, like, I think I can be like quite fiery when I'm like really fucking dialed on something. And, like, you've seen that in probably so many different outlets. And I think, like, when you're speaking about understanding people, like, when I'm really fucking passionate with something, I'm really dialed and I know something's going to fucking work and we just need to do it. Like, I can be pretty fiery about it. When I say fiery, I just mean, like, when I'm fucking set on something, it's just like full send. And it's probably a combination of that fiery nature of just wanting to fucking get things done. Flip side, like the natural kind of visionary role, naturally they're more emotional about their business because it's their baby, they probably founded it. Like, there is, just like you're saying, a lot of people care about their business so much more that it becomes to their own detriment. Like, you very much helped me navigate that on a consistent basis. Even like thinking back to like January, February, like you sent me like a 6.5 minute voice note, just basically breaking down logically how we actually move forward from this point forward. Because like we were both, the hardest part probably about the partnership exit was you do like 3 roles, I do like 3 roles. So it's like
a lot of roles.
How the fuck do we? I wish it was 6 rolls and sausage, but it's fucking not, bro. It's fucking 3 full paying roles that are like, how the fuck do you replace that? Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I think a big component of that was like, how do I replace Andy? And also, who do I need to get in? What is it even going to look like? Also, during that time, having a churn period, during that time, sales kind of dropping, needing to refresh ads for fucking months that I just had never had the time to refresh, delaying decisions that I'd been delaying for quite some time. And like during those moments, it's so easy to get overwhelmed, and especially when there's an emotional like complexity to it where you've got hit after hit. So say like a few clients churn in the space of a few days, then into a few sales calls not being closed over the line, a deal that you maybe thought was going to go over doesn't get over, and then also on top of that, you kind of throw in like you have all these tasks to do, and you're constantly getting knocked off that hurdle. Like that's one thing that I think you like actually helped me navigate that like on a day-to-day basis. That probably people wouldn't know, because I think on the front end I'm probably looked at someone that's pretty logical in terms of how I operate. At least I think so, but there is like a lot of emotion fueled by what we're building, and I think a lot of it stems from like I needed this service when I first went into business, and I know the importance of it, and I know like how it needs to look and how it needs to feel and what the value people really need to get, and I think that can result in that fiery nature.
It's just like any relationship though. The way I would position it, mine's going to sound way harsher, but it's not meant to. Like, you were sharp.
Yeah.
That was how I always perceived it, where you cared so much that you were like, no, it just has to be done. And you could see in your face, you were like, there was no if, buts, or maybes. It was no, don't try and challenge this because we're going to do it. And I know for me, if I take my side of things, of where I'm self-reflecting on maybe areas that I wasn't so great at when it came to it, is that I wouldn't always speak my mind right there and then.
Yep.
I would like to take the time to digest what had been said. But because you wanted to move forward and ahead, you wanted to hear what it was there and now. But I wanted the time. And I didn't need a lot of time. It was always something that we would speak about after, or we would phone each other after maybe like 10 minutes and say like, hey, I've had a bit more of a think about this. Here's what I was thinking during that call. Yeah. And I remember you would always say to me, why didn't you just say that on the call? And it was because I wanted that. But again, that's where we both worked so well together, because I understood where you were coming from and you knew that you needed just a little bit more time, and that we would phone each other 10 minutes after that call and then speak of what was going on. Yeah. But again, that's just purely through understanding the relationship that we were trying to build, and the vision was bigger than both of us.
Yeah, without a doubt, mate. Without a doubt. Because I think it's like a large amount of the partnership piece is understanding each other. Like we didn't really do anything like this when I think back to it, but probably Rocket Fuel, the assessment that Rocket Fuel does, which anyone that wants to do that, by the way, if you've got a partnership, the EOS system, if you Google that, you type in Rocket Fuel like partnership assessment, it will come up. And I think that was the first time that we actually understood each other on a business level. I think one thing that I think we both got really good at was primarily your self-influencing at first, was like, because we both got therapy, so self-aware, like we know every component of ourselves, we know our weaknesses, we know our kind of our positives. And I think as well, like one of the first hurdles as well in the first 6 months was that I was getting headaches all the fucking time. And anyone that thinks that I'm brutal or blunt, normal, when I've got a headache, man, fuck me, bro. I don't even know how you navigated that, because it's like all emotion is gone. Not all emotion is gone. It's like all emotion is gone, but as a result, I was like almost like a brutal cunt with like how I'd deliver things, and there would be no consideration of how you would feel on the other end. And it wasn't like anything, it was never anything personal on Andy. It was just like, this is how we're going to fucking do it. You would have like some like rebuttal or pushback on it, and I'd just be like, Sorehead John's like, I don't give a fuck. We're doing it this way. Let's just lock it in. And that's like 3 years of growth, because if I look back then, that was the initial 6 months of us working together. Doesn't happen now. Also solved the headaches thing, which I keep saying is thanks to Paul, who literally owns this studio, for getting me to do an intolerance test. But yeah, I think the fiery component definitely stems from how much I care about the business and the vision, like you said. And as long as you are both bought in the vision and you don't take it personal, because I think that's one thing you've done fantastically. You never took anything personal. When I was fiery and I was gassed and I was excited, whether it was positive or negative, like, you never took anything I said personally. And to be fair, like, I never ever said anything personally.
No, it was never an attack on the person.
But it was always focused on the business, and you knew that, which is probably a huge component of how we actually worked as a partnership.
You know, funnily enough, I actually don't ever remember that like 6 month period of me thinking he's a dick.
Yeah.
There was never a time I do not ever recall a negative moment in that first 6 months of us working together. All that I remember is we worked incredibly hard, and a lot harder than we initially said we were going to work to make it happen. And we checked off all those boxes from the mural board of what we wanted to do, what was sales systems, and I've no idea. It was like the vision. And that was the three things. The other time I was thinking about when you were ending just there was when you brought up the opportunity of us becoming integrator and visionary as the roles. I had quite a lot of pushback to start with, as I thought I was basically just going to become the number two in the business. I was just going to be pushed to the back end, because part of the visionary role, if you've ever read it before, if you haven't, it's essentially the visionary focuses on the bigger relationships, and the integrator is the one who's sort of maybe inside the weeds, inside the business, being able to bring back to the visionary what's been happening, what's been going on. So when you first brought that to me, I really just thought, I'm going to be just in the background of everything here. I'm going to be pushed to the side. I'm just going to be the little mechanic doing everything inside, and then you just get to do whatever you want. Yeah. So I remember feeling that way originally when you brought it to me. we were having a conversation about it. It was actually going to fives at the time. I was in the car driving. We were talking about it. And I got out of the car and I was like, I think John just hates me. But as I then got more of an understanding of what you're aiming for with it, it was never about visionary integrator. It was always side by side of knowing that we were still working together towards the bigger vision, which was bigger than both of us.
I think the biggest component on that was that probably helped you understand it was for the sake of the business. Is like for every 5 visionaries, there's 1 integrator.
Yeah.
So you're so fucking rare, like like one of the scarcest commodities out there, and I think that's the probably component of like doing things that's best for the business. Like the visionary integrator piece, it's so interesting because we see it in partnerships sort of through Y&L. You send them rocket fuel, one of them will realize they're an integrator, one of them won't want to be the integrator. The same kind of process repeats, whereas we knew it was going to be best for the business like first. And also luckily we had Lawrence, who was like, it wasn't just me read this book and I'm like, we should do this. It was literally like read the book and Lawrence helped us understand how to implement it and the why behind it, which a large amount of it just stems from the fact that most partnerships are just split into do lists. And one of the conversations I had with the 2 young guys today that are an awesome partnership was like, when you're splitting a to-do list, like, does that mean for every 10 sales calls come through, you take 5 and I take 5, but you've got a significantly higher conversion rate than me, so say you're 20% higher, that means that we're pissing away 20% of a margin because you should just be taking all the fucking calls because you're better than sales than me. I said that to the 2 boys and they kind of looked at each other and were like, fuck, yeah. And it's ultimately when you do the things that you're better at and you truly lean into that, the ROI on time and money is fucking crazy.
Exponential.
Like,
because we took sales calls together.
Yeah, that's true.
The first like year we took sales calls together. Close rate was class.
Oh, close rate was
Don't get me wrong.
bro.
But we took sales calls together, which is mental because it's 2 people who are meant to be working on one business.
Yeah.
And there we are showing up on a sales call together.
Yeah. Which a large amount of that came from like wanting to vet the clients.
Yeah.
But even at that, bro, we'd do prep for it. We'd combo off each other. That was crazy. Actually, I forgot.
We had like back and forth. It was a script we were running through. It was like back and forth of taking through parts of the business. Our close rate was mental, but so.
Oh no, our close rate was ridiculous.
New sales tactic: get 2 people.
Yeah, 2 double whammy on that shit.
Close rate.
I think the other thing you'd push back on as well was paid ads. When
Definitely. Paid ads was a horrible one. Horrible time. When John originally brought that we should do paid ads, and it was through the Iron course
program.
From Alex Becker. And I just had bias around ads because every single ad I had ever seen in my life from YouTube, from social media, they were all so bad.
Yep.
And not once had I ever thought, oh, this ad's great. I'm going to buy from them. But then there was a point where you said, we'll just try it. We'll put a little bit of money into it. We'll see how it goes. We put a couple £100 into it and we managed to make the money back.
Yep.
And I thought, how's that possible? Because every ad that I've seen has been terrible. But as we got more used to it and as we got more entwined into what paid ads actually was, it was just another way to get people to see you.
Yep.
And if you positioned it, that your business and what you do and how you can help people and how you can help a particular type of people, because with paid ads, you can direct it towards a certain individual, you would serve the people you wanted to get in front of that.
Yep.
And then obviously as we explored it more and more, I just realized that that was a channel that we could bring in genuinely good people who will naturally just be on their phone scrolling anyway. Yep. So why not be a little bit of a scroll stopper of, are you a young entrepreneur looking to be around others? And it's like, yeah, because that's what we were before we done it.
Yeah. I think like the component of paid ads now is like, I think ads and content are like for me the best partnership of, especially for like service-based B2B, like best partnership when it comes to like omni-channel marketing. Like if the amount of people that came through now, even the 2 lads that I call with today, is like they initially came through an ad, but they'd seen our shit all over the place, all like for fucking months. And it's like the ads are being served repeatedly the same way your content's being served repeatedly. And all it takes is, interestingly enough as well, now that I think about it, your content, if you're just value-based content and you do your call to actions on your stories, you're not really doing any call to actions in your content. Whereas the paid ads almost operate like stopgaps of call to actions, where they might see a piece of content from us, get value, and the next day they get served an ad. And it's like, well, these guys have like a fucking like cool offering. Like, let me go check it out. And then if the funnel's structured right, if the value's right in the front end, if the nurturing process in the back end's right, like all of these things, they will convert for sure.
And that's what we've done. We started to move it forward, and now I've been putting money aside with every deal I've closed for ads. I've got £1,000 in that ad budget ready to
Nice.
go for
That's
the next
fucking
few months.
class. That is unreal, man. And what's to give guys the breakdown in terms of like the funnel that you'll be operating off, this show and tell, but is there any kind of further context you could give to why you're maybe starting with that one, how you're planning on going about the ads? Yeah.
Show and tell funnel, what I've found anyway from the things that we've done and the funnels that we've worked on or saw from clients, it's always the best one to create the authority that you're wanting to, that complete authenticity of what you're aiming for, because you are literally just showing what you have done. You're not trying to hide something. You're not saying, oh, this framework is hidden behind a paid wall that you will never see. Most people that watch these videos will never do anything with it. So you don't actually want those people anyway, because they're not going to be committed to what they're doing. So why not just show everything and show the people that will genuinely care about what you're wanting to do, how to do it. And if they need help with it, they'll come to you because you're an expert. You know what you're doing. You've done it enough to showcase that you are the expert in that field. So by starting with the show and tell funnel, I'm able to show what I've done last year with clients.
Yep.
We're able to get them to record revenue months, sign more deals, get more of their time back, scale their company to hire more people. I'm able to genuinely show that off. And then through that, it'll be going into a 5-part series for the newsletter, which is going to be the separate one that will allow them to essentially be the show and tell funnel, but more of an email format. And then inside of that, it will be weekly emails about basically how you scale your company with systems.
Amazing. That's fucking class. That'll give so many like a good understanding, because I'm just finding it so interesting in terms of like prior to Y&L, we had no idea how to do any of that shit. Whereas you're able to start something from scratch, know exactly the acquisition machine you're going to go down, the structure of it, what the context of those emails, ads, funnel will consist of. You've already got results because you've done it. Like we closed like 40 to 50k in Notion deals last year without marketing it. So you've got all those deals to showcase. You've got Y&L as a case study technically to showcase as well. Yeah, it's so fucking cool, man. Seeing like the actual starting block foundations. As soon as you start in 10k months, like it's just going to showcase once again like what we've built with Y&L and how to do it for any business, especially like systems related. Which, how many deals have you closed now in a week?
2
already. It's fucking nuts, man. Nuts. And plenty more in the pipeline, man.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy, bro. Fucking crazy. Is there anything you would have done differently over the 3 years?
No, not one. I think you asked, what was your honest thoughts of working with you over the last 3 years when we were on that call?
Yeah.
There was nothing I would do differently. We've grown so much. Yep. The last 3 years have been the best 3 years of my life. Yep. Everything's changed. My whole life's changed. The way that I am, the way that I show up, my risk aversion, my ability to be more myself, my confidence, the skills that we've learned. Why would you ever change a thing of that? Everything that we went through up and down was the best things that could have happened to us, and it will continue to be moving forward.
I love that, bro. Feelings are mutual. I actually got asked by a client if I regretted doing 50-50 with you. Just as like, I think this stems from the us actually being an anomaly in terms of like people assume there's bad blood, people assume there's all these negatives. The question of like, do you regret like giving 50-50 from an aspect of then having to like buy Andy out and go through all these other different processes? It's like, absolutely fucking not, because like we wouldn't have went from 1.4k to 30k months in 3 years without each other. And also all the skills that we developed during that time period to then whatever we do beyond this point. Lauren's coming in, we're just going to scale Y&L, you going and just like literally just doing Notion, building business that's just going to be fucking nuts. It's like 2 different paths, more suited to what we want. And then ultimately we would have never got to the point of knowing what we want though without what we've done the last 3 years. So yeah, feelings are very much mutual, bro. Very much mutual. Any kind of final things you want to touch on with your business that we've maybe not ran through?
No, I guess the biggest things that I'm going to be doing is showcasing exactly why I'm an expert in the system side of things. The automations are coming into play. The makes, Zapier's, NAN, the delivery process visual stuff with the Miro boards and being able to showcase the frameworks and stuff of how people move forward. And now as well, learning more channels. So things like Slack, high level, ClickUp, those sorts of areas, so that not only can you help companies scale through a Notion system if that's something that works best for them, but helping them scale when they use multitudes of platforms that can grow even larger teams.
100%. You're going to be showcasing all of that on
every social media. Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, newsletter. Those will be the main channels.
And what's the cadence going to be of all of those?
those will be working up to be daily. The YouTube not daily so much, but that'll be weekly. Daily, that would be mental. I done that with the crypto channel back in the day, and that was difficult. But yeah, newsletter weekly, YouTube weekly, and then the Instagram and LinkedIn being the daily.
Nice. Love that shit. Any final things that we've maybe not touched on?
No, it's just an exciting future. I believe we should have another one in 2-3 years' time.
Oh, mate, 2-3 months' time, bro.
Yeah, and see
First 5-figure month. Yeah, you're saying that's just such an example of our partnership in it. Like, it was like 2-3 years. I'm thinking you really finish that with 2-3 months. Yeah, no, I completely agree, mate. Definitely come back, run it back up. And yeah, like even from an aspect of run it back up, from an aspect of being able to speak about how you've helped us go from 1.4 to 30k months, but how you've helped us then go to 6-figure months as well, which
will make it happen.
Going to be pretty fucking nuts. But yeah, honestly, brother, I really do appreciate it, mate. I appreciate everything we've done and worked on. It's been fucking insane.
It has been.
And yeah, I always think about the comment of like, it's gonna be sick when we're the best men at each other's weddings. That's gonna be fucking awesome. So yeah, I appreciate you big time, brother. Honestly. Trips. Obviously, that's a bit of a different episode. If you're on Instagram and LinkedIn, like please do. YouTube, full shebang, please follow Andy. Obviously, you might get sick of seeing so much systems. But actually, through being sick of it, you might actually then start to love it as well. Because when it comes to someone that is like a true expert in that field, there's literally no one better. I'm just about to literally sit and do a testimonial for Andy, and it's going to be the easiest, quickest testimonial in my life, because there's not much else to say than when you meet someone that loves something as much as like you do when it comes to systems. I think systems is the one thing that you want it in the hands of almost like a nerd that just loves that shit more than anyone else. You just want it in their hands, and you fucking love that shit more than anything else. So yeah, trips. If you're wanting to like literally scale your business because you cannot do it without it, then Andy's Instagram, Andy's YouTube, newsletter, get signed up to all that shit. And anyone I've ever met that is scaled to incredible levels, systems, automations, like you cannot hire without those things. So understand that the crucial foundations are built on the systems piece, and there's going to be no one else better out there from a content perspective. So make sure you follow, make sure you sub, make sure you get on the fucking email list and get that shit dialed. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on, brother.
Thanks for having me.
Honestly, it's been fucking insane. Trips, if you're on YouTube, subscribe. Obviously got episodes rolling out regularly at the moment. And if you're on Spotify, follow as well. Let us know what your favourite part was. And as always, Trips, have an incredible day.